Welcome to Mega Stadiums. In 2030, the World Cup turns 100 years old. And to celebrate, football is doing something it has never done before. 6 countries, 3 continents. A tournament that opens in South America, where the whole story began, before crossing the Atlantic to be decided across Spain, Portugal, and Morocco. 21 stadiums will carry it. Ancient cathedrals, brand new giants, the largest football stadium ever built, and 3 colossal arenas locked in a fight to host the final itself. Today we're going through every single one. Let's get started. The 2030 World Cup will be the most sprawling tournament in the sport's history. Following the 48-team format introduced in 2026, this upcoming edition could be the first to expand to 64 teams, which would increase the schedule to a massive 128 matches over a 44-day span from the 8th of June to the 21st of July that makes it the longest World Cup ever staged. It was awarded in December 2024 to a joint bid from Morocco, Portugal, and Spain. The first World Cup ever spread across 3 continents, the first in Africa since 2010, and the first of all time in Morocco, Portugal, and Paraguay. That last name is the clue to what makes this edition special. The very first World Cup was held in Uruguay in 1930. So, to honor the centenary, 3 opening matches will be played in South America, 1 each in Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay, before the teams fly north for the tournament proper. What follows is every venue set to host it, grouped by nation. A final list still needs formal sign-off from FIFA, expected late this year, but this is the picture as it stands, and it is a remarkable one. Centenario Stadium, Montevideo, Uruguay. There was only ever one place this could start. The Centenario was built specifically for the inaugural 1930 World Cup and staged that first ever final. It remains the only ground on Earth that FIFA has declared a World Football Historical Monument. Now, a renovation is adding a new stand and roofing most of the 62,000-seat bowl, while carefully preserving the iconic Torre de los Homenajes, so that a century on, the World Cup can return to the exact spot where it was born. The Centenario hosts the tournament's opening match. History, closing its own circle. Monumental Stadium, Buenos Aires, Argentina. Home of River Plate and the largest stadium in South America, the Monumental staged the 1978 final, where Argentina lifted their first world title against the Netherlands. Ahead of 2030, it is undergoing a vast transformation, a continuous upper ring and a full roof lifting capacity to around 100,000, and it will host Argentina's opening match, the first World Cup fixture on Argentine soil in more than half a century. Osvaldo Dominguez, Dibb Stadium, Asunción, Paraguay. For Paraguay's first ever World Cup match, the home of Club Olimpia is being demolished to the ground and rebuilt from scratch. The new 46,000-seat arena will be the largest and most modern in the nation, named after a former Olimpia president, father of CONMEBOL president. A modest stadium becoming a landmark for a country stepping onto the biggest stage for the very first time. Estádio Da Luz, Lisbon. Benfica's home and the largest stadium in Portugal at 68,000, the Cathedral of Light has hosted a European Championship and 2 Champions League finals since it opened in 2003. Designed by Populous, it seats the crowd close and steep around the pitch, intimate for its size in a way that surprises first-time visitors. But it won't look like this in 2030. Benfica have approved a major redevelopment that will lower the pitch, pull the stands tighter, and push capacity in phases toward a target of 80,000 seats by 2029. Of Portugal's 3 venues, this is the one most likely to land the heavyweight knockout fixtures. Estádio José Alvalade, Lisbon. Sporting's bold mosaic-clad home, built alongside Da Luz for Euro 2004 and holding 52,000. Designed with the club's iconic green and white across its distinctive exterior panels, Alvalade has staged a Champions League semi-final and a Nations League final since opening, a ground with bigger history than its capacity might suggest. Modest operational upgrades are underway ahead of 2030, but structurally it is already there. 2 World Cup venues in the same city, 2 of Portugal's greatest clubs, 2 very different architectural personalities, and both of them in Lisbon. Estádio do Dragao, Porto. FC Porto's Fortress opened Euro 2004 with the tournament's first match and has since staged a Nations League final and the 2021 Champions League final. At 50,000 seats, steep and loud, the Dragao is one of Europe's great modern grounds and Portugal's quietly confident corner of this World Cup. Marrakech Stadium, Marrakech. The Grand Stade de Marrakech sits on the edge of the city, the Atlas Mountains rising behind it. A first phase readied it for AFCON, but the World Cup work is still to come. By 2028, the athletics track will be torn out, a full roof installed, and capacity lifted toward 45,000. A venue as much about setting as the football played inside it. Adrar Stadium, Agadir. In the Atlantic beach resort city of Agadir, the Adrar has so far received only exterior upgrades. The transformation that matters is still ahead, capacity rising from around 41,800 to 46,000, rebuilt hospitality levels, and a full 360-degree panoramic roof closing in a ground that has always felt exposed. Sea breeze, mountains, and 300 days of sunshine a year. Fez Stadium, Fez. In Morocco's spiritual and intellectual heart, home to the world's oldest continuously operating university and the largest car-free Medina on earth, the Complexe Sportif de Fez is following the same two-stage path. The second phase, running to 2028, will boost capacity to around 55,000 and add a new roof, dragging a proud old ground up to World Cup standard. Ibn Batouta Stadium, Tangier. Expanded from around 45,000 into a 75,000-seat arena, one of the largest in all of Africa, the Ibn Battuta is named after the 14th century Tangier-born explorer who crossed the known world. It sits just 14 kilometers from Spain across the Strait of Gibraltar, and it has already hosted a Spanish Super Cup, Club World Cup fixtures, and an AFCON semi-final, modern, steep, and fully covered. Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium, Rabat. Morocco's polished national showpiece. Demolished and completely rebuilt on its original site in barely 2 years, fast enough to flirt with a world record, the 69,000-seat complex opened in 2025 and promptly staged the opening match and the final of the Africa Cup of Nations. FIFA President Gianni Infantino called it a jewel. A World Cup semi-final is already earmarked for Rabat. Hassan II Stadium, Casablanca. And then there is the giant. Rising from the plains of Benzliman, some 40 kilometers east of Casablanca, the Hassan II is designed by Populous as an enormous Moroccan tent, a translucent, luminous canopy resting in the landscape. At a planned 115,000 seats, it is set to become the largest football stadium anywhere on the planet, a roughly $500 million home for Wydad, Raja, and the Atlas Lions. But its true ambition is bigger still. Morocco wants the Hassan II to host the 2030 World Cup final, and that puts a brand new African colossus into direct competition with two of the most famous cathedrals in the game. The World Cup stage will be back in Spain for the first time since 1982, carrying more venues than any other host, and more drama than all of them, combined over which grounds actually make the cut. That drama is real. Malaga walked away over the cost of rebuilding La Rosaleda, and A Coruña followed, pulling its Riaza bid over hosting expenses. The Gran Canaria Stadium in Las Palmas is in serious trouble too. Its €175 million renovation went out to tender, and not a single construction firm was willing to take it on, leaving the project stalled and the city's place hanging by a thread. And in Madrid, Atletico's Metropolitano is quietly stepping aside. Handing the stadium to FIFA for the summer of 2030 would gut its lucrative concert calendar, and with a new 10-year Live Nation deal bringing as many as 20 shows a year, the World Cup simply doesn't pay. RCDE Stadium, Barcelona. Espanyol's sleek home in Cornellà el Prat, opened in 2009 and crowned with a photovoltaic roof, holds 40,000 and already meets modern standards with barely a thing required ahead of 2030. What makes it genuinely interesting in the context of this tournament is its position, a second Barcelona venue sitting just a few kilometers from Camp Nou, meaning the city will host World Cup football simultaneously across two very different grounds. One of the most ambitious rebuilds in stadium history and one of the most quietly efficient modern bowls in Spain. Real Arena, San Sebastián. Real Sociedad's Anoeta, reborn. With its old athletics track stripped out and the stands pulled tight to the pitch, the 42,000 capacity arena in beautiful Donostia is a compact, atmospheric modern ground on Spain's northern coast. San Mamés, Bilbao. Athletic Club's 53,000-seat home opened in 2013 on the site of the original San Mamés, a ground that had stood since 1913 and carried a century of Basque football history. The new build honors that weight without being trapped by it, steep, enclosed, and loud in a way that modern stadiums often fail to achieve. It earned UEFA's elite category rating, staged a Europa League final in 2024, and is widely considered one of the finest club stadiums in Europe. ABANCA-Balaídos, Vigo. One of Spain's oldest grounds, dating to 1928, Celta Vigo's Balaídos is being modernized and expanded toward 44,000 as a late addition to the bid. Stepping in after A Coruña's Riazor withdrew over hosting costs, the renovation is closing in the open corners, upgrading the concourses, and bringing a ground that wears its age visibly up to FIFA's technical standards. Vigo itself sits on the Atlantic coast in Galicia, green and maritime and unlike anywhere else in Spain, and the stadium carries that character, rough-edged, passionate, and fiercely local. Nueva Romareda, Zaragoza. A brand new 43,000-seat arena replacing the old Romareda, built to hit FIFA's standards and chase knockout fixtures. There's a curiosity here. A gleaming World Cup stadium is rising for Real Zaragoza, a club that, for now, plays in the Spanish third tier. Ambition betting on the future. Nou Mestalla, Valencia. Perhaps the most extraordinary story in Spain. Valencia's new home stood as a half-finished concrete skeleton for almost 16 years. Abandoned in 2009 when the money ran out and left to deteriorate in plain sight. The World Cup revived it. A new agreement with the city council, a financing package, and a construction contract with FCC finally brought workers back to the site in January 2025. A tensioned cable roof is now going up over 70,000 seats, and the target is a 2027 completion. In time for Valencia to move in and, more importantly, in time to host a World Cup. It is the most unlikely venue on this list, and probably the most resilient, a ghost of a stadium finally coming back to life, fueled almost entirely by the deadline of the biggest event in football. La Cartuja, Seville. Seville's great multi-purpose arena is being expanded towards 70,000 for the tournament. Originally built as an athletic stadium for Seville's unsuccessful bids to host the 2004 and 2008 Olympics, La Cartuja found its calling as a football venue instead. It staged matches at Euro 2020 and has hosted the Copa del Rey final more times than any other ground in the modern era. Its location on the Isla de la Cartuja gives it an almost ceremonial quality, separated from the city centre by the Guadalquivir River, one of Spanish football's most dependable big occasion grounds, and a venue that has earned its place at this tournament through years of quietly getting the job done. Spotify Camp Nou, Barcelona. And now the Giants. Barcelona's iconic home is being rebuilt from the inside out in the €1.5 billion Espai Barça project. Fully roofed for the first time, wrapped in a new structure, and pushed to a staggering 105,000 seats that will make it the largest stadium in Europe. Barca returned to a still unfinished Camp Nou in late 2025, with full completion due in 2028. And it is one of just 3 grounds in the running to host the World Cup final. Santiago Bernabeu, Madrid. Which leaves the last stadium, and the biggest question of all. Real Madrid's Bernabeu has emerged from €1 billion reconstruction as something close to science fiction. A retractable roof, a pitch that slides underground to be stored beneath the stands, a wraparound metallic skin, and a 360-degree interior screen. It has been named the best stadium in the world. It hosted the 1982 World Cup final, and it is now the front-runner to host the 2030 final, which would make it the stage for the biggest match in football twice over, 48 years apart. Madrid, Barcelona, or Casablanca? FIFA decides around the end of 2026. The Bernabeu believes the answer is already obvious. And there you have it, 21 stadiums, 6 countries, 3 continents, and 100 years of World Cup history folding back on itself. From the birthplace in Montevideo to the largest stadium ever built in Casablanca, this is a tournament unlike any other. But the biggest drama is still unwritten. Which of the 3 great arenas, the Bernabeu, the Camp Nou, or the Hassan II, will host the final itself? Let us know where you think it should be played in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching. See you next week.